Hello friends, today we're going to read Fancy Nancy and the Posh Puppy. And do you know what my name is? My name is Nancy, so I really am a Fancy Nancy. And I have 4 cats that I've rescued off the streets, so they're in a loving forever home, but I like puppies too. So we're gonna read this book, and it's written by Jane O'Connor, and the pictures are by Robin Priest Glasser. Are we ready to listen? I am ecstatic. That's a fancy word for happy. We're going to get a puppy, a real one. I hope we get a papillon like our neighbor's dog. You say it, papillon. It's French and it means butterfly. And there's the puppy. I help Mrs. Devine take care of Jewel. We take her to the beauty salon. We buy her new ensembles. That's a fancy word for clothes. Papillons are so posh. That's a fancy word for fancy. There's only one problem, my parents. Papillons like to stay indoors, my dad says. They're too little and delicate, my mom says. What about one of these dogs? And they're looking at a golden retriever and a German shepherd and a Great Dane and a Doberman. I shake my head. Too big, too brown, too plain. Sometimes it's hard being the only fancy person in a family. Then I get an idea that's spectacular. That's a fancy word for great. We can puppy set for Jewel. My parents say okay. So does Mrs. Devine. My family will see how happy we'll be with a papillon puppy. I introduce Jewel, that's the puppy, to my doll, Maribel. I show my sister how to groom Jewel and how to scoop her poop. That's a job we have to do with puppies. My sister wants to hold and kiss Jewel. I tell her, you must be gentle. What a responsible girl you are, my mom says. Some dog is going to be very lucky. Merci, I say. That's French for thank you. 2 of my friends are walking their dogs. Come on over to my house, I say. I'm puppy sitting. All the dogs can play together. Rusty splashes in the wading pool. Jewel hides behind my legs. Scamp plays fetch. Go, Jewel, I say, get the ball, I yell. Jewel just looks at me. She gets exhausted pretty quickly, I tell my friends. That's a fancy word for tired. While Jewel gets her beauty rest, we have refreshments. Oh no! Look at what my little sister is doing. Poor Jewel is terrified. So she's pulling a wagon with pillows and Jewel on top. What do you think is gonna happen? You're right. The pillows fall and Jewel falls. Mom, come quick. Jewel is gonna be sick. When we get our papillon, I'm not letting her near it, I say. My mom whispers, she's little, she doesn't know any better. She was trying to be nice. I know. We take Jewel back to her house. She is a perfect dog for Mrs. Devine, but maybe she isn't the perfect dog for our family. I'm so sad. I can hardly get fancy when we go to the King's Crown for dinner. On the way home, we drive by the animal shelter. It's the LaSalle Street Animal Shelter. Let's take a look, my mom says. All those dogs need a family to love them. I ask the lady, are there any fancy dogs here? And she says, I think we have just the dog for you. She is funny and playful and smart and cuddly, and her name is Frenchie. Frenchie, I like the sound of that. Frenchie runs right to me and jumps in my lap. She likes it when my sister hugs her. Frenchie is the perfect dog for us. My dad says Frenchie is a LaSalle Spaniel. That's a very unique breed. Unique is fancy for one of a kind. You know what? Maybe that's even better than fancy. The end. And I really like the lesson in this story that there are special pets for different families, and Frenchie was just right for Fancy Nancy and found a loving forever home.